all set.
Okay. Hello, friends and family. Welcome to Mary Elizabeth Jones's Variety Hour. Guest starring Kaye Lazar. Okay?
Me again. It's me
Yay!
again. No matter how much people try to shake me, I'm still here.
Oh.
It's great. So nice being in your living room here. A lot of people don't know what a palatial mansion you live in. That's why you got all the friends.
Aw.
No, this is we're actually here outside. We're actually doing this after a photo shoot, and so that's why we're doing it now. And tell me, so what was our photo shoot? Was tell us a little bit about it.
Our photo shoot, we have, we know some people that, do photography and everything. So, and we volunteered to, do some photos, and we did all sorts of nice poses and, like, of us dancing and looking at the lake and posing with each other and all that good stuff. So,
I always feel that when you pose for photos, it's always easier to do it with someone else when you have two people doing it.
right.
And just last week, no, about 2 weeks ago, I was in a photo shoot with a guy I also do shows with, Keith. And but Keith was like supervising it all, but he didn't like the pictures he took, so he cut himself out of all the. But now they're just singles of me, which
Oh,
are all right. But I'd like to see Keith in the pictures too. But
yeah.
I like. But nevertheless, the pictures are always better. I hope they don't. I certainly hope that the photographers don't take my face off and put like Sylvester Stallone's head on it or something, or Arnold Schwarzenegger's face on it. I mean,
Right,
I could do my
right.
own face like his.
Exactly, exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
Mary looked great. Mary, I had, as you know, I love clothes, and I had so many coats and ties and everything. Something brilliant happened today. I had three different ties. This is one of them. In fact, we're wearing our clothes, the same clothes. This is the last clothes I was wearing, but I could put any of them on. And what happened was there was no mirrors. There's nowhere to check my hair, so I got the Trump comb over here.
Right, right.
But
Yeah.
I tied my tie. I had three ties. I tied them all perfectly the first time with no mirror. I mean, the idea of just doing that once in when you get up in the morning to go before you go to work is a genius. This was almost like as Donald Trump would say, the greatest not tying ever. I should join the Navy. No, well, it's not tying. I'm very good at it. Same tie, same
Right,
not tying, but when the pictures come out, we'll put them on the internet, and they're looking good. They were just taken
okay.
just a few minutes ago, so
Right.
there you go. And we took pictures against a waterfall, and we
Hmm.
took pictures
Of a lake.
of a lake. We took pictures in a gazebo.
Yeah, that was really pretty.
We had to kick out the homeless guys that were living there.
Yeah.
Move that sleeping bag out of the way. We're moving in. We're moving in. We have a movie shoot to do. The other thing we did, what else? We did we did some dancing too.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, it's very problematic taking pictures of people dancing. We were doing like waltz dancing and
Yeah.
stuff. We were trying to do a real waltz, but they actually said, the real waltz ain't making it. I said, why? Because and this happens all the time with photography, is that when you take pictures of people dancing,
Mhm.
you get a lot of blurred shots
Oh wow.
and
Yeah.
very little like good shots.
Right, right,
You might get a good shot after maybe 10 bad shots.
yeah,
So it's
right.
best to take it like when you're like a horse race, just take them all at once coming through the finish line, and then you might get a photo finish that way. So then they say, okay. So then we simplified the dance a little bit, just did the box step, and it
Right,
worked out. No one really
right.
cares how you're dancing in a still picture
As
anyway.
long as long as it looks good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes the best pictures, they say, well, I don't like posed photos. I say, well, yeah, but posed photos are, at least you know what you're getting. The picture looks good.
Right.
Everyone's looking the same direction.
Exactly.
The baby is smiling. Usually I could tell you all about stuff I learned about photography. I might be in the Guinness Book of World Records, most photographs taken. I worked at an amusement park taking pictures for scopes.
Right.
So I would take two photos for each sitting. I mean,
Right.
these were people just coming through the gate,
Right.
and said, "Can I stop? get a picture. So take the picture, and I would take two. And I broke all the records, probably to this day at this place.
Oh,
And
wow.
I must have taken. They said at the end of the summer, I must have taken maybe 150,000 photographs, which means
Wow.
75,000 groups. No, it was like maybe I forget, but I think the end result was I took 350,000 or 300,000 pictures. There was an approximate. Nobody really knows how much I took.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so I learned a lot about photography, taking so many of them at a fast clip. And
Right.
one of the things is if a group of people come around, like a family, always look at the person that's going to give you the most trouble. Usually a kid, usually a boy.
Yeah.
He won't smile. He makes a face. And then sometimes you'll have a group of girls, like teenagers,
Hmm.
and one of them don't want to have their picture taken, and they make a face on it like this, you know.
Sometimes their parents force them to get their pictures
Yeah, yeah.
taken.
And then
Yeah.
what happens is they're the first ones to complain why the picture doesn't look so good. I say, yeah, maybe if you would have, you don't say that because you're the photographer. You have to always say,
Right.
but
Right.
you say, you, you you're the first one to. They're the first one to say, uh, uh, maybe if you were more cooperative, the picture would have been better.
Right. Exactly.
Also, what's really funny about photography? Yeah, so always look at the person who's going to cause you the most trouble. Usually a kid. Kid doesn't want to smile. Kid doesn't want to look. Let's see. Never have pictures of people looking down because it looks like their eyes are closed. They look
Yeah.
like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very. You could take a picture of someone looking down, but it's very hard to get them
Right.
to look like their eyes are open, even when their
Right.
eyes are open.
Yeah. Get like a goofy picture, you know.
Well, I'm not a big fan of goofy pictures. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Not that goofy pictures don't have their place. It's
Right.
just that goofy pictures are the ones that don't sell. Nobody wants a goofy picture hanging in there
Right.
of them making a face.
Right. Yeah.
They want kind of everyone wants a picture where they look good.
Yeah.
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 And so, so you work on that person who wants to look good because they're the ones who actually want the picture taken.
Right. Right. I remember one time when I was in middle school, when I took chorus
Mm,
years ago. We did group photos,
mhm.
after the chorus concerts that we did.
Yeah.
And I remember they made us do one goofy picture and one regular standard picture.
Yes.
So
And which was the best picture?
well, both of them were pretty funny to me. So, but if you're gonna be serious, you should stick with the standard regular pose. Like you just stand there and smile.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
The pictures I've because I've actually well I come from a time before digital when there was
Right.
film in the camera,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
didn't really waste a lot of pictures.
Right. Yeah.
You didn't want to take more than two pictures of any group before you changed it up,
Right,
new person
right,
in the picture
right.
or
Yeah.
something. And I've taken so many photos of like I said, hundreds of thousands of people. Probably in the Guinness Book of World Records for all I know.
Yeah. Who knows?
But who knows? There are people who take lots of pictures.
Right.
What else? I took all these pictures, and yeah. So I could yeah. This was in the day. Those scopes are still pretty good, but the scopes themselves aren't very good because now they don't really have a translucent roll of film in there. It's
Right.
basically just a picture, and you hold it up to the light, and everything's nothing
Right.
doesn't look good.
Right. Right.
I haven't bought a scope in years, and yet
Yeah.
the best scopes I have are from like I'm not kidding you, probably 25 years ago.
Right. I remember back when I was really little, those Polaroid cameras. You take them and then the picture comes out of it.
Oh, the XX70 when they would come out,
Yes.
right? It would burp it out,
Yeah.
and then you'd wait for it to develop.
Yeah, you
Those were
go.
great. Yeah, those
Yeah,
were
I
great.
used to love those.
You have a few
Yeah. My
pictures.
parents used them all the time for Easter and Christmas and
They're
all
the
that
only
stuff.
copy too.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
negative or
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
And so I have all these. I even have film that I haven't used yet. It's been in my refrigerator in the bottom of my refrigerator for years,
Wow.
waiting for film to come back.
Wow.
What else? It used to be so expensive, and now everyone takes pictures. I used to be the only person taking pictures. Now everyone takes pictures, which is good because I don't have to take pictures anymore.
Right.
Well, like when I'm in a show, for example, in a theater, I hope people. There's so many people taking pictures that I don't really have to worry. I just go on the internet. Oh, there I am. There I am. There I am,
Wow.
holding my head up high and pontificating and
Yeah.
yelling and wearing my mask and my costume and my
Yeah.
wig and everything.
Right. Right.
So tell us a little bit about that dress you're wearing.
Yes. This dress is from LuLaRoe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clothing company that they sell online. You only have to go to Facebook and claim an item. And this particular item is called the Amelia.
The Amelia,
Yeah, and I got a bunch of these.
named after the famous county in Virginia.
Well, they name them after the people that have to do with the company or something like that. So I think
Yeah.
that's probably why they got their names from.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Amelia. There's a Carly.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
iCarly. Yeah.
What else?
Named after Carly Simon.
There's also a I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, Irma.
Irma.
And then all other stuff like that.
Irma.
Those are all the products that LuLaRoe has available.
I can't remember the last time I met someone named Irma.
They got some beautiful styles as well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually have a cousin.
Actually, it makes no difference what clothes look like. It's how you look in them.
Right.
How you wear them.
Yeah, I actually have a cousin named Irma. She was my fourth cousin from my mom's dad's side.
How old is she?
She passed away now, but she was about.
How old she lived to be?
Probably around about 80 or 90
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, a 90-year-old woman named Irma. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and she used to be a singer.
Oh yeah.
She used to sing on the radio.
Oh wow.
She used to go to different places like the Tantilla in Richmond, Virginia, downtown, many years ago, back in the 1940s.
Yeah, wow. Did she sing in New York or anywhere?
I don't know if she did or not, but I know she sung.
Hollywood.
I know she sung in the city of Richmond.
Okay.
Richmond City.
Good start.
Yeah.
Good start.
But she.
Are they recordings of Irma?
No recordings, but my family members have pictures.
Oh, pictures
of her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What was her best songs?
My grandfather told me a couple of them. Oh, she used to sing Jack, 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 Cooga Jack, 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 Cooga. It was a famous song before
of the day.
Before she made it, but she remade other people's songs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she sung that one, and then my grandpa also told me that she was singing a song called Careless.
Yeah, oh, I know the song Careless.
Yeah, and my grandfather, when he was younger, he used to watch her sing and listen to her sing.
Yes.
And my grandfather was laughing at her because he thought that instead of saying she was supposed to say bridges, but he thought that she said britches.
Bridges.
and then she was
the bridges of Madison County.
And then she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then he was like, "Well, I thought you said britches. I thought you said you were supposed to. I thought you said britches instead of bridges. My bad." Something like that. It was pretty funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he told me a lot of stories about her all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only met her once when she was in a nursing home.
Oh yeah.
But
usually not at their best when they're in the nursing home.
Yeah, but I talked to her. I talked to her on the phone a couple times before she was not well off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
People in my family live a long time, like 90 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm still considered a kid to them.
Yeah.
Other families I'd be middle aged, but in their family I might as well be in kindergarten.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, I don't have any. Oh wait a minute, I do have an opera singer relative.
Oh really?
His name was my real name is not Lazar, it's Kravitz. His name was Harold Kravitz.
Oh wow.
And he came from Latvia, and he was an opera singer, I think in Russia or somewhere, or in Germany or somewhere. And then he came emigrated with a lot of my people to America, and then was an opera singer here too.
Wow.
I don't think he was a lead singer. But he was there. He was in a lot of the touring companies and everything. And but I've never heard him sing because I don't know if there's any recordings of him. There's so many operas. opera companies in New York alone. At least at one time, there were lots of opera companies. Now with video, and everyone gets recorded. We're doing a show right now, right in the out of nothing. We pull it
Wow.
out of thin air. This show.
Yeah, yeah. My who was he to your dad?
He
Was he a
was my
cousin or?
dad's like second cousin,
Oh,
older
okay.
than my dad, but
Yeah.
like older than my dad, but but like on his father's side.
Wow.
Yeah, because a lot of our relatives that I tended to know tend to be on the mother's side.
Mm.
Yeah, and uh, and so yeah, so I I do have a famous relative that I've never met,
Mm.
but he's really famous. Somewhere
Mm.
in the distance, you probably heard of Dick Morris. He was
Oh.
the guy who got in a scandal with a prostitute, but he was a famous political strategist. He used to be on Fox News, and before that,
Oh.
I don't know what he. I think his real job is he is a fixer,
Oh
and
wow.
he worked for I think a lot of the Republican presidents, and then Clinton hired him when he was in a midst of some
Oh.
sort of scandal
Okay.
early on,
Nice.
and he hired him, and he kind
Oh
of got him
wow.
out of the scandal.
Ah!
Oh gosh,
Uh,
we're having. I think I think our audience is starting to act up. Yeah. So anyway, oh, by the way, we're doing this with an audience now.
yes.
Doing it in a park.
Yes.
So anyway, Dick Morris was I think he was famous in some election. I think it was 2012. Was he got fired from Fox News when he
Oh.
told a lot of people that certain candidates were going to win. But what happened was they had little chance of winning, but because he was working for them, it's very illegal to do this in business or on the Wall Street. Pump up the stock saying how great it is so people will get in on it. But basically, he was only pumping it up because he was working for them. But anyway, they made a movie called and then he got fired when it turned out that he was only pumping those people up because he was working for them.
Well.
He was doing advertising for them while pretending to be a political pundit. Dick Morris was the only chance I ever got to meet him was I was invited to a wedding that I didn't go to in my family, and he was there. He was just, I mean, he's just in the group, and I could have met him. But anyway, that's the only time. Also, there's a movie called Wag the Dog with
Oh.
with Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, where they try to create a war or a
Wow.
fake war to get
Yeah.
a scandal away from a president, and they get a Hollywood producer played by Dustin Hoffman. He's based on Robert Evans, who was a real guy,
Wow.
and the other guy, Robert De Niro, played a political fixer, and he was based on Dick Morris.
Oh.
So I've had people. Uh, I've met people who were dramatized in movies. I actually had a friend who was dramatized in the movie Big Eyes, which I could talk
Oh.
about some other times. But the closest thing, and I keep mentioning this all the time, I do also do the Gorgeous George show, and there was this guy called Danny McBride,
Wow.
and we know Danny McBride, and he's from Fredericksburg, and I have a feeling he
Mm.
saw the Gorgeous George show because he created two characters that were seemed to be so based on George and me. It was called the name of the show was Vice Principals, and he picked, the one guy was a guy like George, and the other guy a big guy with George, and the other guy was kind of a Tweety Bird type with suits and kind of
Oh.
fussy kind of guy, and I think that character was based on me. Yeah, I mean in a funny way. I mean I didn't take it too seriously. And I don't think even George did because they could corner that guy, Danny McBride, and he could probably say, "Oh no, it's based on other friends of mine, not anything I saw on
Oh,
cable access
okay,
on in
okay.
Richmond,
Oh,
Virginia."
wow.
But I still like to think that it was based on me and George.
Right.
Also, I've been a character in a couple of novels. Friends of mine,
Wow.
Keith Van Allen wrote a
Okay,
novel, and
nice.
were you ever the subject of a poem or anything written?
No, I have not
No,
actually.
no. They've made because of stuff I've done. There's all these fake documentaries. Not, I wouldn't say fake. They're real documentaries, but documentaries made without me being interviewed for them or anything.
Right.
But they use a lot of things I said, and a lot of them are pretty. They're pretty watchable. They're
Yeah.
not too terrible.
Right.
I usually come out good in the documentaries that are made about subjects I'm in. So
Yeah.
just because I live such a clean, healthy, non-scandalous life. What a bore, as Jimmy Durante would say. What a bore.
A rink a dink a doo, a
Oh,
dink a dink.
you know Jimmy Durante?
Yeah, yeah,
Ha
yeah.
cha 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 cha.
Cha 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 cha.
I used to love Jimmy Durante
I
as a
love
kid.
him.
Yeah.
He is hilarious.
Stop the music! Stop the music!
Stop the music! Stop the music!
He's one of those guys, Jimmy Durante, that if you're
He
in a
has a
bit.
funny looking nose.
Well, that's the thing. He has the schnozola. But when you see Jimmy Durante, I don't know what type. If unless you're really depressed,
Right.
he's really going to bring you out of it. The way
Yeah.
playing the piano really hard and
Right. Right.
stop the music. I love that.
Right. Right.
So yeah, check out anything with Jimmy Durante on it. When you were growing up, was there any like old time comedians you used to like?
Yes. I liked Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis.
I liked there's some other people.
Well, Sammy Davis, I was in Las Vegas, and I was there were people that at my table.
Right.
This is the only time I was in Las Vegas, and I was talking to the people at my table, and they were saying, "Oh, I've seen Frank Sinatra, I've seen Dean Martin, I've seen all these people,
Right. Right.
Jerry Vale, all this stuff." I said, "Who is like the best performer?" And they all said Sammy Davis.
Yeah.
They all said Sammy Davis
He could
because
do anything.
he could dance, he could sing,
Yeah.
he could tell jokes. But what they said as an impressionist, like they said, he was better than any of them. He was better than Rich Little, better than
Oh
John
yeah. Yeah.
Viner,
Yeah.
and David Fry, all those. Yeah, and
Yeah.
he was so and we have an audience here. People are watching us do their show,
Yeah.
which is good, which is good. And
Right.
so Sammy Davis. I used to love Sammy Davis. What else did I like? Sammy Davis was, uh, Sammy Davis. Although you'd see him on talk shows and everything, and he'd sing popular songs and everything, he only had the one hit,
Candyman.
the
It
Candyman,
was made
and
back in 1972.
and it was late in his career.
I had
I
that
mean, he
record.
was
It's a
already
good
like
one.
well into his. I mean, he was popular in the 1930s as a kid with the
Right.
Will
Yes.
Maston trio.
Yes.
And then and then he became and then he was always popular and then he had the so then you'd go see him in Las Vegas and he would sing all these songs. He would sing a lot of Anthony Newley songs and he would sing and then at the end everyone's waiting for him to sing
Right.
Candyman and he'd say, and now I'm going to play a medley of my greatest hit. And that was because he only had the one hit.
Yeah.
And
I
it was the
remember.
cat, and everyone knew the Candyman.
Yeah.
It's from Willy Wonka.
Yeah. I remember when Sammy Davis Jr. I saw one of that. I think it was a short film. It was him when he was little.
Oh yeah,
With
with the
Ethel Waters in it.
yeah, with I think
I was trying to think what that one's
it was
called.
he was running for president as a little boy. I
Oh
think yeah, that
yeah,
was
I
really
remember
good.
now.
The
Yeah.
Will Maston trio. That was where Sammy Davis. There's Will Maston, then there was his father, Sammy Davis Sr.
Yes.
That's where the junior comes in because who remembers his father?
Yeah.
But there was the differentiate.
Right.
Usually where there's a junior, there's a senior that you have to regard. So there's Robert Downey
Right.
Jr. His father is a director,
Mhm.
and then there's Harry Connick Jr. His father is a district attorney or was a district attorney of New Orleans, Harry Connick Sr. But usually you don't use senior in your names. You usually just use your name, and then there's junior, third, fourth,
Right.
fifth.
Yeah.
See, in my world, we don't have we don't name kids after their parents. We name them after long gone relatives that are that aren't with us anymore.
Mhm. Yeah.
How'd you get the name Mary?
Well, my mom told me one time years ago when I was born. They were kind of like rushing my mom when I was first born. My mom, the doctors and all that, and the nurses and all that were kind of, I think they were kind of rushing her or
Yeah.
something about what they were going to name me or something. And then my mom just like picked me at the last minute. She was like, Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth.
So that's my name, Mary Elizabeth.
That's a good name.
I love that name.
I was a. I remember, you know, I went to Catholic school
Oh,
and were taught by the nuns,
wow.
and they thought that I'd get a good education there, which I
Right,
did. But all the nuns were Sister Mary Joseph, Sister Mary
right.
Teresa, Sister
Yeah,
Mary. So, are all their names Mary? How did they all wind up with the name Mary?
I know.
And my mom said, "You're not allowed to be a nun unless your name is Mary." I said, "What? You mean
Wow.
is that narrow a field? You have to be born with the name Mary." As I found out years later, you don't have to be born with the name Mary. You just take the name Mary as your name after you
Yeah,
become a nun.
yeah. Both Mary and Elizabeth are biblical names,
Yes,
so that's why I'm proud of them.
all names are from the Bible.
So I'm
Yeah,
sort of named after them.
yeah,
Mary and Elizabeth are cousins, so
yeah.
so
All names are saints' names. That's right.
yeah.
And that's why Lucifer and Beelzebub and Satan didn't become popular names.
Right.
Do you know that there in the Bible there's only two angels or two and a half if you count Lucifer. There's only two angels mentioned by name in the Bible, and that's Gabriel and Michael.
Yeah, my youngest godson's name is Gabriel.
Gabriel,
So
yeah.
yeah.
There was a famous singer, Rosemary Clooney,
Yeah, I love Rosemary
and
Clooney.
her husband, Jose Ferrer. They named both their sons after angels, Gabriel and Michael.
Mm.
But they named them the Spanish ones, so it's Gabriel and Miguel.
Oh, okay.
Miguel Ferrer, of course, was famous actor. Just died sadly a few years
Right,
ago. He used to
right.
be on L.A. Law or one of those shows,
Oh
Chicago
yeah.
Hope. He was a good actor. Yeah, Twin Peaks, of course, he was on. Looks
Wow.
just like his father. His cousin is George Clooney. Doesn't look
Yeah,
like George Clooney.
yeah.
He looks more like his father than the Clooney son. I met Rosemary Clooney when she came to Richmond, and Rosemary Clooney, great singer,
Yeah.
great. I mean, she really was a great singer.
She was one of my grandfather's favorite singers,
Yeah.
actually.
In fact, there's a whole bunch of photos of me on the internet with famous people, and for some reason, the picture with Rosemary Clooney gets a lot of attention.
Right.
More so, because if you get your picture taken with a politician or something, they always,
Mhm.
"Oh, I hate that guy," or, "Oh, I'll never
Right.
vote for that bum."
Right.
But I don't really mind. I take that picture with anybody.
Yeah.
But Rosemary Clooney, there's a picture, just a quick shot when I met her,
Right.
and
Right.
it looks great because
Mm.
this is like near the end of her career when she
Right.
came
Right.
to Richmond, and yeah, Rosemary Clooney is great. At the time, I tell you how long ago the picture was taken. More people knew her than her nephew George Clooney. Now it's completely switched. More
Right.
people know.
Right. Right. Right.
It's weird how that works out. Like Kathy Lee Gifford, it came to a point where more people knew her her than her husband, who was in his day very famous,
Right.
a football player
Wow.
and
Yeah.
New York Giants and
Yeah.
and Monday Night Football announcer.
She's
Yeah,
still on the game show too.
yeah.
Name that tune.
Name that tune.
Yeah.
That was before she was a Gifford. She was Kathy Lee Johnson.
I think it was like late 70s or early 80s or something like
I
that.
love that show. Name that tune.
Yeah.
You know what's weird about that show? Name that tune. If you watch the old reruns of it, I know at the time it was hard, but
Well,
now I
yeah.
know all the songs because I know all the songs.
Right.
But if they didn't name that tune now, I would miss them all because I don't really know all the rap songs.
I,
I don't know all the pop. I know the people. I know who Taylor Swift is and
right.
Justin
Yes. Yes.
Timberlake and
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper, but I don't know the songs they do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm more. I know mostly the old classic songs.
Hmm.
And some of the old classic artists.
Yeah,
But if anybody asks me, who sings this new song, like the new song, I
yeah,
wouldn't know.
yeah.
So because I'm more of the old school music. So
I tell you, when I got my job in as a country music DJ,
right.
I was just really out of college,
Yeah.
less than a year out of college, and I the only opening was for a country music DJ, and I and let me tell you something. Whenever you get a job anywhere, you have to sell yourself to the employer
Mhm.
that you can do the job, even if you can't do the job.
Yeah.
When you're in a movie, you have to tell them you can ride a horse. You gotta tell them you could dance, you could do, you could sing, all that stuff. And then let them
Right.
hire you, and then find out how terrible you are.
Right. Right.
So they hired me to be a country music DJ, and and I was, this was in Ireland. They said, "You must know a lot about country music, being from the South, American South." I said, "I certainly do." Didn't know anything about country music. However, I knew more than I thought I knew. I mean, I knew who Johnny Cash was. I knew who Willie Nelson
Of
was. I knew
course.
who Waylon Jennings.
Of
I
course.
Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn. I knew all those. So then being a DJ is not that hard
Right.
because they just give
Right.
you the records to play anyway. Or if you don't know, if they don't give you the records, then you can figure it out what
Right.
what what's popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and they used to get mad at me. No, I used to get mad at them if they tried to get me to play something like a Motown song or
Yeah.
or something. And I said, "Hey, this is a country music deal. The people who are listening to my show want to hear country music." Said, "But
Ah,
you're not a big fan of yourself." I say, "Yeah, but I'm a big fan of my fans, and that's
right.
they don't tune in to listen to stuff they can hear on other shows,
Right. Right.
on other
Yeah.
stations."
Yeah.
So we're a country music show, and big I'm a big nowhere in entertainment radio do you really have to give the people what they want because you always say you should give people what they want. In
Right.
in radio you have to because they're going to change it to another station.
Right. Right.
They don't care about the DJ. They don't care
Right.
about the commercials. All they care about is what they're listening to.
Yeah. Exactly. You
If
know.
you're a liberal, you're not going to listen to talk radio when they have Rush Limbaugh on there. You're going to tune it to what you want to hear. Good luck fighting a liberal guy on
Right.
the
Right.
radio.
Just like so similar. Like when some of us aren't into football, during the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
they just they just want to watch the commercials.
Well, yeah. Well, the commercials are good at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They make it interesting for everyone else to watch the Super Bowl. Usually a good halftime show. There's
Right.
good popular singers,
Exactly.
there.
Yeah.
There's a lot to see at the Super. I love watching the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
I wish my favorite team was in the Super Bowl. My favorite team is hardly ever in the Super Bowl. So, but when they are, it's even better. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, so you have the commercials. But those commercials cost, I think at this point, like $4 million just for like 30 seconds.
Oh wow.
So they have to make it. Some of those Super Bowl commercials are only shown the one time.
Oh wow.
There's a famous one. The most famous one is the one for Apple when they introduced the Apple computer,
Oh
and it
yeah.
and it was directed by Ridley Scott,
Ooh.
and it had it was in 1984. It had a 1984 look to it,
Right. Right. Yeah.
George Orwell, and it cost $1 million, shown one time, but it was worth it
Wow.
because they kept replaying it on all the other shows as this was newsworthy to keep showing this ad. And I mean, to this day on those whenever they show anything about Apple, they always show that ad, and that kind of propelled it into the stratosphere
Oh
as far
wow.
as Apple being a
That is
company to
so
reckon with, and
cool.
they've been a company to reckon with ever since.
Mm.
Um, uh, there's a Super Bowl. Oh, this is really wild. There used to be Master Lock. Master
Oh.
Lock used to spend. They don't spend it so much anymore, but they used to in the early years of the Super Bowl when it was like maybe 500,000 for ad. They had this is true. They had in their budget a $500,000 ad budget.
Oh
And all
wow.
they did was show one ad at the Super Bowl. And the
Wow.
ad was a high-powered rifle would shoot at a lock,
Oh
and the
wow.
lock would still be stuck. They couldn't open it. They showed how tough master locks were, which I always thought was kind of a funny ad because, and it was the same, pretty much the same. They
Right.
changed it a little bit, but
Right.
it was pretty much the same style ad every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And what I would, and I sometimes your lock is stuck or you lose the key to it at the YMCA or at the locker room, and you have to get someone to get a bolt cutters to it. Or they
Yeah.
said, don't shoot it with a high powered rifle because it's a master lock and it's not going to open.
Right.
I've seen that Super Bowl ad.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's the Super Bowl halftime shows. Every major band has done the Super Bowl halftime show in recent years. They try not to repeat them. I think last year was Justin Timberlake. They had the Black Eyed Peas, Bruce Springsteen, all of them done it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's all good. I think Taylor Swift should do it.
Yeah.
I think my friend Lenny Kravitz should. My cousin Lenny Kravitz should do it. You
Yeah.
haven't guessed. I'm the white sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Then what else? What and so yeah but the Super Bowl and then you have the party aspect. With this pandemic, I wonder how we're going to do. Everything is changed. Everything is
Right.
different.
Yeah.
Halloween is coming up. It's not going to be the same. Thanksgiving's not going to be the same. Christmas is not the same. Fourth of July just passed. Not the same. Nothing's the same. No more. Just people go to school in their house. What fun is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't. But then you don't get bullied so much when
Right.
you're when you're in your house.
Right.
Unless you have mean parents. Some people
Right.
do. Or a
Yeah.
mean older
Oh
brother.
yeah, yeah.
Never had an older brother. So from what people tell me, I don't miss one either.
Right.
And what else? So yeah, everything has changed this pandemic, and mm,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do? And so I I gotta tell you something. I wasn't feeling too well a couple of days ago. I had my shingles vaccine done.
Oh.
And let me tell you about shingles. Shingles is chickenpox,
Mhm.
and it's a type of chicken. It's you get chickenpox as a kid. You get chickenpox as a kid.
Oh yes. Yes.
Everybody does. But what they and then it goes away, and they always say, "Oh, you're never going to get it again." Well, guess what? You do get it. It turns out you do get it again,
Mhm.
and it's comes back as when you're an adult, and it's worse than when you had it as a kid. So you have to take, if you're smart enough, you take a vaccine for it. And when they gave me, there's a two-part vaccine. I haven't gotten the second part yet. So I got the vaccine. There's going to be, you may have a reaction to it. You may be lethargic. It may not be good for you. So just take it easy. Watch television. Take it easy. So I got the shot, and I was fine. Later that night, I was fine. Go to bed, fine. Wake up the next morning, I'm feel terrible. I
Oh.
have this throbbing headache.
Woo-wee.
I could barely get my breath. But I got it in my left arm.
Mm.
My arm, I was like, I couldn't hardly move. And, all this sickness going on, the pandemic and everything, you start to wonder, well,
Right.
why are you
Right.
sick?
Yeah.
But then because I was kind of prepared for it, I said, this
Right.
must be
Yeah.
the reaction to the shingles
Yeah.
vaccination. So what do you do when you're sick? You try to get better.
That's right. Exactly.
How do you get better when you're sick? What do you do?
I drink vitamin C.
Like orange juice?
Yeah, orange
Yes.
juice and
Bring on the orange juice.
exactly. And I eat fruits and veggies and
Uh, uh, I eat that when I'm healthy. When I'm sick.
well, I mean, I eat I eat fruit and veggies every day
Yeah.
anyway. But
Well, I mean, what do you
between
do to disrupt your? Usually, when you're sick, you do anything you can to get better,
I drink plenty of liquids.
which is what you don't usually do. What
Yeah,
I do is something totally different. Well, first off, okay, I'll tell you what I do.
I get plenty of rest too.
Okay. Well, all that is good,
Right?
but that's my regular life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do anything to not be sick. So
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. I don't drink anymore, but when I would have a hangover, I would you do anything to, you'd eat a greasy McDonald's breakfast.
right,
You'd eat a greasy Kentucky Fried, something I would never do.
right.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'd eat a greasy what do you call it, TV dinner.
Mhm.
I'm a bit of a health nut.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you do anything to get rid of this headache, this hangover. So then I stopped drinking, don't have the hangovers anymore. It's perfect. It all works out. Don't have to worry about that. But then so then what do I usually don't do? And so when I'm sick, stuff I like to do, I like to drink sodas. I like to drink Coca-Cola, but I can't drink Coca-Cola all day. I'd be around me like 300 pounds.
Right.
So I drank a soda almost immediately. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking not at night. We're talking at like almost for breakfast. I had this
Right.
Coca,
Right.
had this
Right.
soda, and I had a whole thing of M&Ms.
Right. Right.
That made me feel good. And then M&Ms. So I had a breakfast of M&Ms and soda.
Right. Yeah.
Just and that
Right.
believe it or not made me feel a little bit better. But then I well then I had the orange juice. The orange juice is always good. And then I had NyQuil. And let me tell you about NyQuil. I don't drink anymore. There's two types of NyQuil. There's NyQuil with the alcohol in it, and there's alcohol without the alcohol in it.
Right.
And I have to drink the stuff without the alcohol in it.
Mm.
Let me tell you something. I have to admit, after all these years, the one with the alcohol in it is a better NyQuil. And there's a lot of alcohol. It's like 10% alcohol. You see it on. You have to be like 18 or 21 to buy NyQuil in the store.
Right.
Dayquil
Right.
has no alcohol in it, but
Yeah.
NyQuil does. So, or the off-brand NyQuil.
Wow. Wow.
And so you know how you know there's so much alcohol in NyQuil? It, it's the only medicine that comes with its own shot glass.
Ah, I remember one time, I think it was a few years back, I was so sick. I went with my dad to the store.
Mhm.
This was like about, let's say around 5 years ago or something like that, or maybe more than 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was, I was so achy and chilled and everything, and all of a sudden I had to take a NyQuil,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, I was so sleepy. I felt like I was
Yeah.
really, I was kind of like lit,
Yeah.
like something lifted off of me or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you feel like you're on a cloud,
Yeah.
and you're like restless.
Yeah.
You know.
I've made the mistake in the early days of drinking NyQuil, drinking two of them.
Right.
I think one of them is plenty.
Right.
And so I drank the NyQuil, just a capful of it,
Mhm.
and then before that I did something really weird. I filled my bathtub because I had
Wow.
the chills.
Yeah.
I got into the hot water and
Right.
just luxuriated in there for a while,
Right.
and then got the heavy blanket that I
Right.
usually wait for the winter time to use. I used it
Yeah.
right away.
Right.
Wrapped myself up there, slept for 5 hours,
Wow.
woke up, watched TV for a while, just not
Uh-huh.
for very long, like maybe 3 hours,
Right.
and then took more NyQuil,
Right.
slept all night, woke up, and now I
Wow.
feel like $100.
Wow. Yeah, I felt so much better after I took it too, but
Yeah.
man, I was miserable.
Sometimes to put yourself to sleep, you have to do a lot of stuff. Like I always feel in my case, because I'm a pretty healthy guy. I always
Yeah.
feel in my case, sleep is. If I'm sick, it's because I didn't get enough
Right.
sleep.
Right.
If I wake up with a headache, then it's probably because I woke up too early or woke up didn't have a fitful sleep.
Right.
So then I try to sleep more,
Right.
and then that doesn't work. I try to take a nap, and that doesn't work.
Right.
So
Right.
that's sometimes it's a missed opportunity of a day. Sometimes I just have to say I'm going to have to get through this day with a headache, and then
Right.
hopefully maybe go to bed early tonight.
Right. Right.
But the NyQuil, kind of it's like the velvet glove on it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You won't go to
Yeah.
sleep again.
Yeah.
So I slept. So I had 2 nights sleep in one day. But that
Uh-huh.
did the job. It did the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
so mark my words. Whatever you do, a lot of
yeah.
people say. Also, this is really weird. Um, television. I always feel like if I can't get to sleep after 10 minutes, to just get up and start doing stuff, which is good. But sometimes you really have to get back to sleep, and you have to
Right.
wake up early the next morning. So
Right.
so I found that put on something on television, but don't put on anything like the Fast and the Furious or something exciting.
Right.
Put on like a foreign movie with subtitles, and you're going to get tired just reading those subtitles go back and forth.
Just like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Is that an exciting movie?
Yeah, it had a lot of karate stuff in
Yeah,
it. Like the fighters flew in the air, like they
I
were
remember
flying
that
in the
movie.
air.
It was
Yeah.
but Ang Lee made it. But one thing I didn't care for the movie was I didn't think it was supposed to be a love story. It was the most unlovely love story I've ever seen. People flying through the air and people they just didn't get the love story part right. They got everything else right. The
Yeah.
karate and the kicking guys in the throat part. That was all
Right.
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 They got
Right.
they got that part right.
Right.
Crouching Tiger has who was in that movie? Chow Yun Fat was in that
Oh
movie. Yeah,
yeah.
I remember him in it. He's in a lot of American movies too.
Yeah.
And What else going on?
Wasn't he on the Anna and the King too?
He was an Anna and the King
Yeah,
with
with
which
Jodie
is
Foster. With
with
Jodie
Jodie.
Foster. Yes.
Jodie was the Anna,
Yes.
and Anna was Jodie Foster. But it that movie to me was just the King and I with no singing and dancing,
Uh,
and I kind of missed the singing and dancing.
I like the singing and dancing one better.
With Yul Brynner
Yeah.
and Deborah Carr.
And
Yeah, well, that's really good.
I mean, the other one was good too, but I like the older version better.
Actually, there's actually even an earlier version of that with
Irene Dunn and some
and
other
Rex
person.
Harrison,
Yeah.
who was famous in a musical too, but not
Right.
that music.
Right.
They should have put.
Uh,
He was in, and his Rex Harrison's play musical was My Fair Lady,
oh
and
yeah.
that's based on Pygmalion. Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
by George Bernard Shaw, and then Pygmalion is actually the famous sculptor. I it's about a sculptor who Greek in the Greek myths who does who carves a woman out of marble, a statue out of marble, and then falls in love with
Oh
her, and then
wow.
becomes a real woman. Sort of like
Oh.
Pinocchio, only even more sophisticated.
Aw. Aw.
What else? Well, we were talking about what else? So nice. The weather is so nice here and
Yes,
everything.
it's beautiful here.
We have let's see what's going on here.